Alrighty, mic check. Seems to be working. Scene check. Webcam's on. Let's do this. Really should remember there's no dignified way to eat a cinnamon bun, but okay. Hey Squiggly, how's it going? Welcome to the Brioche Eating Brioche stream. Now that sucks. At least it's Friday, right? Anything in particular stressful, or, you know, just the state of the world? Okay, snacking complete. Let's end this. Bertrude seems to have something on her mind. Ah, there. Things are getting a little crazy. Following the successful outcome of the liberation rite, you find Bertrude muttering something to herself. You hear some of the words as you approach. Should thou speak, seekest darkness, then may nightfall come to thee in time. Should thou seekest courage, then may bravery soon bloom within thy heart. Should thou seek water, then may the oceans open wide for thee. That sucks. Well, I suppose everyone sort of always ends up doing at least one job they aren't quite qualified for, but gives you puts you under a lot of pressure, doesn't it? Then may the oceans open wide for thee. Should thou seekest fortune, then... You recognise it as the Bog Benediction, though you have never heard it said aloud. Bog Benediction, an old blessing of goodwill from the Seven Bogs, never uttered there in modern times. The Bog dwellers bade their more adventurous brethren to go forth and seek the other peoples of the land. Then Bertrude sees you there and cuts short the chant. Care thee to explain thy presence? Reading 1. We were amidst an invocation, which must now begin anew. 'Tis for the Worm Knight, if thou needest know, to speed him on his homeward journey. The Worm Knights are a distant kin. Unlike their ilk, ours have but a passing interest in the sea. There within the depths, we have long seen that which is to be seen. Nevertheless, the distant kin is kin. So you're just relaxing now then? That foolish Worm Knight. Surely he could never have survived his years if not for divine aid. Thus we provide him more. Then perhaps the Worm Knight, easily underestimated as he is, perhaps he shall turn out to be some small benefit as part of Sandalwood's designs. She glares at you intently for a moment. mistake not these actions for affection. It's not as if I like him or anything, nor for allowing of the loudness of this place to escalate ever again to such volumes, such as only his incessant shouting could achieve. Now leave us reading one. The invocation must be finished ere the Worm Knight finally arrives upon the shores beyond this land before his homecoming. She turns away from you, then begins her chant again. Should thou seekest shelter, then may the elements be merciful to thee. Should thou seekest kinship, then may thy kin hold memory of thee. Should thou seek darkness. You leave her to the benediction. The Worm Knight's absence is already felt. You know, however, that he will strive all his might on your behalf there, on the other side. Yeah, I think, to be fair, I did give her sort of a Yoda voice there, didn't I? I was going for a crone voice. Crone voice it was. Very wise it sounds. Crone column. My precious, it is. Yes. On history. This book cannot accompany you if you should earn your freedom. It is to remain here for your successors, for it is bound together inextricably with us. There is no sorcery, however, to prohibit you from spreading forth its teachings. We charge you to go forth and share what you have learnt along your path. Reveal not the rites themselves, nor the existence of this book. Transcend its bounded limitations, for it cannot be transcribed. Any such attempt shall fail. Beware those who would dare to read it on the other side. Under their guise of seeking wisdom, may yet lurk a much darker desire to undo that which we strive to do. Oh yeah, that's fair. I suppose he is basically has the same sort of vibe as an old bog crone, doesn't he? Well, an old bog crone mixed with a martial arts master. Because, well, that's literally what he is. At dawn, your companions are prepared to depart. Everyone is silent. Your travels are to take you back to the Hulk of Horrors, but soon after the stars shall draw you here again. Okay, let's do this. Hey Troy, how's it going? You just meet me eating a cinnamon bun. Okay, so we can stop at Underking Pass, which the minstrel wants to use for fishing. Fathomless Trench, Teaser wants to fish. Or Ragged Rock, where Wolfred will find Stardust. You know what, Teaser? You can go fishing again. I remember last time he failed to catch his fish and ended up with a penalty, but oh yeah, it was good. I mean, warm bread and cinnamon, you can't go wrong there. Search the sea. The sea is peaceful for the most part, save for the occasional strange shimmers beneath the surface. You realise the lone minstrel is looking down at them along with you. Those shapes down there, some must be worms of the Sea Dominion, cast into exile. I understand they tirelessly fought the Commonwealth's wars, having grown wary of their own. They must make worthy adversaries. Tizo appears to have spotted something tasty. Tizo dives without warning into the depths below. And there he goes again. That one enjoys being at sea, despite his perils. Eventually the little imp resurfaces, clutching something in his claws. Teaser caught a spotted slur. You could always sell it. Oh, Teaser's sad. Hey Amanda, how's it going? It's just telling Froy you missed me finishing off her cinnamon bun. Teaser seems to be in the midst of a conversation with the lone minstrel as you approach the two of them. The imp appears perturbed about something. And above all, he was very loyal. Fiercely so, in fact. Although all throughout the land knew better than to underestimate him, in spite of his little stature. In that respect, Tizo, and in many others I might add, your great-grandfather was very much like you. Ah, yeah, we all have those days. Hope you got something tasty. I know I have. I had ribs and chips for tea. Tizo seems to be asking the lone minstrel to confirm he's not playing some sort of prank. Eh, I'm being serious. Have you known me to be the jesting sort? Tizo seems to be admitting the lone minstrel has always been sincere with him. Just so. Then please do not denigrate yourself, for you're not only his heir, but you're remaining linked to him, and thus to all the aids. And more importantly, you're my friend. Tizo is grateful to the lone minstrel for his kind words, and considers him a friend as well. Ah. The Nightwings need you more now, more so than ever. Then the lone minstrel turns to you. Is that not so, reader? Agree with the lone minstrel that Tizo is invaluable to the group. Heartily concur. Tizo is not only important to the group, but seems to need a boost of confidence. Respectfully decline. The Nightwings is an institution greater than any given member of the group. Game, we're not being mean to Tizo. You concur with the lone minstrel's assessment of Tizo as a most remarkable and irreplaceable member of the group. He is an extraordinary imp indeed. At this, Tizo rushes up and gives you an imp hug. Tizo is grateful to you for your kindness and your support of him. Yes, Froy, I could. As in, it is possible. I am able to. Much in the same way it's possible for me to gnaw my own arm off. But it's just not happening. Tizo bounds off happily as the lone minstrel looks on. And there he goes. Thank you indeed, reader. Tizo sometimes loses sight of all that makes him special. A quality uncharacteristic of his kind, but not so much uncommon amongst yours. Once there was a time where he was the sole imp able to conduct the rites. Since then, however, Untriumvirates have found imps with the capacity for it. They make for useful allies, no? More than willing to conduct the rites, whilst having no desire to leave this place. Although little Tizo does have dreams of visiting the Commonwealth. In any case, I'm certain he shall continue to serve the Nightwings faithfully. The lone minstrel bows his head on his way out, bidding you a good rest for the afternoon. Tizo gained +1 hope for the next rite. Ah. Okay. Yep, let's give Tizo some training. Yep, same. Half of me to be mean to him, half of me to trust anyone who would be mean to him. Tizo is more than pleased to hear you tell him of the rites. You and Tizo compare thoughts on how each of your fellow exiles can contribute to prevailing in the rites, and in which groups of three they maybe can achieve their very best. I mean, like, we've only got one group of three left, but still. Tizo feels honoured to be of service to the exiles of the Nightwings. Okay, let's carry on to the Hulk of Arez, where we get to fight the punk dogs. Okay, Slug Market. Oh, hey guys. You know, it seems to be awful quiet now. I gotta say, without that slippery little character what used to hang around with you, I mean. Talks like this a lot. You know what I mean? Hope you found that owner thing he's always going on about. We don't got that in stock just now. Okay, I'll just sell him the fishy. Anything good? Yep, your favourite character, Froy. So, be seeing you guys. Okay, let's do this then. By now, having to make preparation for the rites has become second nature to your companions. They go about the process efficiently, and this time in almost total silence. You cannot shake the sense that the routine shall not go on much longer. Bertrude approaches and confirms to you that the Nightwing sigil is set. Everyone has their books and raiments, and the grounds are ready. Everything should be in order. The remaining stars shine brightly still. Not for much longer, it would seem. We have watched the splendor of the stars each night, unfailing, since we were a tad. We shall savor the remaining opportunities. You and Bertrude stand together in silence for a time, looking for the stars above to show some indication that the rite is to commence. It is taking too long. Concern begins to well up in you, but then... Oh. I love these guys' theme music.
It seems the stars once more have mustered wherewithal to usher in the rites. The sky grows dimmer by the day. An age is ending. Surely you must know by now that you shall never all be free. Yet still you struggle to fulfill some senseless plan. But I digress, of course. Some of us still honor the tradition. Some of us hold dear the teachings of the scribes.
The pyres on each side are burning bright. From across the field you observe the leader of the distance approach and remove his mask. Well now. Alright. Right. Well now, it's time we enter another round, isn't it, mate? Don't know any more of these we got in this these days. So how about we make this one real kicker, eh? Come on then, Nightwings, do your worst. I want to see you try and do some proper damage here. I cannot do accents today.
Who shall it be this time? Tizo. Joe Dariel. Wolfred.
Okay. The Nightwings have stood against the distance many times before, though this time it may be the last. Everyone, let us conduct this rite with glory. Alright then, mates. You ready? You ready? Let's make these blasted stars up there and go wet themselves. After we're through here, eh?
Commence. Now it begins in earnest. Oh, so close. That's it. A favorable start.
It begins.
That marker Aspar sure is rather quick.
Keep.
It was dangerously close. Cool. Ouch. There. Unfortunate.
Hey. Most unfortunate.
Barker banished.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
There it is. You seem unable to stop these people. Take that, Barker.
So slow.
You left yourselves wide open. Splendid. How very fortunate. How comical. Ferocity unbridled. Barker leaps headlong into the fire.
Not going well.
Tough luck,
Ah!
night wings. From burning flame to ash.
Yeah, this could have gone better. Ah, looks like you're all about to lose and send us on our merry way to getting out of here. Come on, boys, let's wrap this up.
That foolish Barker was a menace to the Commonwealth and is a blight upon the rights.
Yoink.
Brilliantly done. Quite the close call there, no? Beneath contempt,
Oh, shut up.
alas. That one almost got through.
Come on.
None left unscathed. Remember everything which you hold dear.
Okay, I can make a comeback. I can make a comeback.
A deftly thwarted drive. simply monstrous. That Pyre's flames grow weak.
Yeah, come on.
Didn't see it coming. Pathetic.
2, 1. No!
A sacred miracle has kept the flames alive.
I forgot about that. Oh. Poo-poo. Okay, these abilities are...
Triumphs are equally as close. Good. Righteous fire.
What? No, I do not want to activate sticky keys. Stop that.
Once more like that, and we are finished here. Quite the turn of events.
Oh, it.
And it is done.
We'll see about that. They're completely broken at this level.
Who shall it be this time? Volfred. Tizo. With that out of the way,
If this is to be your last confrontation with the dissidents, then Tizo vows to make it one to remember.
commence.
First blood.
Be gone.
Ah,
An inauspicious start.
yes. She's a bit slow.
That Barker Aspars sure is rather quick. This is the road to ruin. The orb is loose.
come on.
Oh, you poor Nightwings. There it is.
Yep, I can still do this.
Oh, boo. Twas dangerously close. Zap. I almost pity what transpired there.
Oh, come on.
Unfortunate. How very fortunate.
Oh, come on.
Brilliantly done. A banishment. Alas. Quite the close call there, no? Bolfred doused the adversary's pyre.
Made it.
How fine. Ah. How comical. Your pyre sputters. Seize the orb. Aha.
Ah,
Your pyre weakens.
eep. Not good.
Ah. None left unscathed. Beneath contempt, divine intervention.
can do this, Tizo.
The Nightwing shall prevail at this rate. Quite the turn of events. Barker's on time out. Tis taken. How very fortunate. A stroke of luck is all. Barker banished. Quite foul for the Nightwings. Your pyre shall soon be ashes on the ground. Cool. Oh, boo. That Beaufort plunged into the flame.
Okay, I can do this, I can do this.
Once more like that, and we are finished here. None left unscathed.
Okay, I can still do this.
Perhaps you are unworthy. Stand not in glory's path.
Oh, come on, that was bullshit. Pardon my French.
Tis done.
Okay. Sorry for my outburst there.
Who shall it be this time?
Okay, one more attempt at that, and if it doesn't go through, I'll concede and carry on with the plots, because obviously I want to finish this today.
Fine.
Yep, I have the power of tea on my side. I can't lose. On the plus side, I love these guys' theme music.
The knight's first banishment.
Oh, come the heck on. Okay, we can still turn this around.
Ferocity unbridled.
Uh-oh.
Now you down. All three Nightwings. Poof.
Ah.
How very fortunate. Oh. Sorry, Volfred.
Oh, that
Your
is...
exiles all are banished, I'm afraid. Best laid plans do oft go awry.
Oh, thank you, Amanda.
'Twas dangerously close. All of the Nightwings banished.
Come on, respawn.
There it is. The Nightwing's adversaries gained an edge. A banishment.
Oh, that is...
Splendid. Spectacularly done.
Okay, that went well.
Best not get overconfident, Nightwings.
Where's the orb? Oh.
Tizo takes the plunge. Quite the turn of events. Wherever did the Nightwings go?
Oh, quiet you.
Unfortunate.
Yep, I still have this, I can do this, I can do this. I have the power of...
The orb.
I don't know. Yeah, open!
So it is.
Now I'll just leave my lines closed and
How very fortunate.
they'll bring the orb to me. Come on. on, come hither, I dare ye.
A shameful outcome. From burning flame to
I was doing well until I didn't. You're really gonna make us work for this rap? Is that right, mates? Well then, we gotta work it out for us. Oh, he respects me.
the imp did it.
The imp can always do it. Guess you could call it Mission Imp Possible.
That one almost got through.
Ah, come on.
You left yourselves wide open.
Okay, come on.
Sinners. Oh. Quite the close call there, no?
Yoink.
Ouch. Bad boy, Parker. Bye now. You all. Oh. Deftly thwarted the drive. Meddlesome imp. Banished from this place.
Oh, come on.
Pathetic. Your pyre spies. Oh. Someone there rose to the occasion. Now take it. It is done.
Yes.
The Night Wings managed to prevail. They brushed aside their adversaries without too much trouble.
As far as you know.
The right is ended.
Well done, Nightwings. As for the dissidents, they fought fearlessly many times. I doubt that it shall be enough. May they find mercy in this land. The dissidents, they proved a worthy adversary. Teaser is pleased to have prevailed. They wishes that the dissidents find their peace. Can still feel my blood boiling after that. Would rather snuffed out that flame of yours. But hey, be seen around these parts? Come on, mates, let's get out of here. Still have no idea what accent I'm giving him.
The rights do tend to teach something of trust.
Yeah, well, there's the thing, I can't actually do Russian accents.
Now go and wallow in the downside for a while.
Already an hour into the stream, eh? Inside the wagon, after vanquishing the dissidents, Jodariel is discussing aspects of the outcome with the others, when the lone minstrel seeks you out. Pardon the interruption, reader, though I need to ask a moment of your time, while the night is still clear enough for you to see. Please, come and have a look outside. Perhaps the news of your next destination may further stir the hearts of your companions. Among what stars yet remain shining in the night, one of them now burns as bright as ever you have seen. The path to freedom called. Okay, here it goes. Yeah, well, I'm not sure the Russians would agree, but here we go. The final freedom right. I think I'm gonna see if I can get Judariel out of here. The cycle turns ever more quickly now, until such a time shall it shudder to a halt. He makes a sound, then almost like a laugh. I forget myself, reader. I should not say such things. The scribes, they would say that one ought to focus on the paths in front of her. When we set forth to walk along a laboured path, it cannot be all too much. If we stand back and look upon it as a whole, we may well decide to turn around. Soon enough we may arrive where we endeavoured. The lone minstrel bids you a good evening. You had best retire for the night, for when first daylight comes, it shall be time again to take to the skies. Okay. Let's continue. Hey ARP, how's it going? You're just in time for the final freedom rite. Ah yeah, I suppose Fridays are always a bit of a drag, aren't they? Not for me though, I'm on holiday at the moment. Rude? Your wagon reels from the impact of some sort of massive object slamming into it mid-flight. False night wings. Orelek calls down to you from atop his wagon. Again you seek to climb that cursed mountain beneath us. Again you seek to take my rightful place. I should send you crashing down into it, that you fall as I have. He stares down at all of you. But I shall not. Rather, we shall meet on the summit, the last cycle of the rites is ended. Until then. Foreshadowing much? Yep, so do you have the weekend off now, ARP? Yeah, give Jodariel the bonus, because she's the one I want to send home. You make landing on the sacred Mount Elodiel after your encounter with Orelek. Orelek spoke the truth. He has the right to gain the summit. When the time comes, Celeste shall deem him worthy and let him pass. While he has transgressed against the rites, he has already been anointed and prevailed. Nothing is written on the book on this, and his liberty ought already be his. For the time, it seems that he has not yet travelled to the summit. Perhaps he is still making preparations with his fellow exiles. What has to be a yellow card of... Oh, right, yeah. Football metaphor. When exactly Orelek intends to make good on his promise, he did not make clear. But for now you are to confront Lendl and the accusers upon the summit. But first, you may prepare. Seek the Worm Scribe's favour. Later that afternoon you accompany Jodariel through the ancient formations of Temple Cistern to the monument of the Under King Orez. 2 remaining opportunities for freedom then, isn't it? You scribes are rather stingy of your favour, you know. Several of those who stand with me to serve to see their homes. If you are truly judges of the worthy, then I expect you shall choose from them. You return to the wagon after she has finished paying her respects. The summit awaits, but first there is time to continue practicing your vocations. Jodariel gained +3 glory. Nice. Jodariel seems to be fidgeting with her horns. Blast these wretched things, reader! Have you any inkling how unwieldy they become with age? I long for the days when the wound in my leg was chief among my bodily concerns. Jodariel seems frustrated with her horns. Say they look heavy. It seems one never grows entirely accustomed to becoming a demon of the downside. Say they look good. You find it difficult to imagine Jodariel without her stately horns. Say nothing. You know a rhetorical question when you hear one. Best let her speak her mind. You express regret her horns yet cause her discomfort, though note that you think they look very good on her, for whatever consolation that provides. It is fortunate my perpetual discomfort is of benefit to you. 10 years or so into my stay in this blasted place, I first felt protrusions from my skull. They remained hidden by my hair for quite some time, but I knew that would not last. We all heard much of the demons in the Commonwealth. Sinners, rightfully exiled, would assume their rightful form. Thus, when my horns started to sprout, I took it as an indication that perhaps it was indeed the fate that I deserved. She trails off for a while. I know somewhat better now. Anybody of our kind left down here long enough, and not left alive, becomes like this. Something in the climate? Difficult to say. A disease of sorts, but not a deadly one. If anything, quite the opposite. If we live long enough, then we live longer still like this, extending thus our sentence into exile. Sometimes I think, if these horns are here to symbolise my sins, then surely they are going to recede if I ever return. On nights when these damned horns prevent my sleep, my thoughts very stray to that hopeless idea, a naive hope which never leaves, despite prolonged attempts to rid myself of it. Horns are not worth the trouble, reader. She nods wryly as she heads out into the afternoon. Yeah, I'm gonna free her. You locate a secluded area nearby, where you should be able to study the Book of Rites. Through greater understanding comes the reader's influence. You attune yourself to the strange and mystical properties of the Book of Rites, embracing such as possible that which cannot be explained or truly known. Heck yeah, she is best girl. A lot less friendly than you, I might add. Inspiration comes to you in a flash, whether from the book or from within you cannot tell. You gain the reader's influence, tenacity. Okay, let's continue. Oh, let's find out what happened to our favourite worm. Deep in the sheer cliffs of Mount Lodiel, you find a messenger imp looking to bring you the latest news and rumours from the other side. This time around, the imp brings tidings of Sir Gilman and what happened to him since his liberation at the fall of Soliam, when at last his self-imposed exile came to an end. You learn that his return to the Commonwealth was met with much rejoicing. Was that Monty Python reference? I'm sure you won't, Amanda. And that before long he was promoted to the rank of Veiled Captain on the Blood Border. And yet, with tears welling in his eyes, he did refuse the post, stating he no longer had the heart to fight against the High-Wing remnants as he once did. He then cast down his helmet, and when next anyone saw him, he was amongst Volfred agents, having joined the revolution to reshape the Commonwealth from within. You thank the messenger imp for the report, and salute it crisply and surely as Sir Gilman would have. Soon the news has everyone in the wagon talking.
Noble Gilman made a gallant choice, it seems. Our plan comes close to fruition for his good example and support.
The tears he shed ought to have been bottled, and thus set aside for use in various salves.
Knight or no, he shall always remain Sir Gilman in my eyes. It must have taken great restraint for him to do what he has done. Tiso feels inspired by the news of Sir Gilman's selfless actions. No, Froy, he's not back. That was just a note on what had happened to him after he got freed. Ah, yeah, that's true. I know I've been quite grumpy lately, but yeah, getting sleep now. I'm happy again. The news of Gilman's liberation fills you and your fellow exiles with newfound resolve. Your companions gain +1 hope for the next rite. You are returned once more to Scribe's Gate, where the Gate Guardian awaits under a dim sky. The exiles of the Nightwings, and you, Tarek. This is to be one of our final meetings. Greetings, Celeste. The Nightwings are prepared, and afterwards I would have words with you in private, if you please. It seems rather late for words now, Tarek, but I shall hear them once your charges cross the gate. Now all of you come forth, please state your names and what it is that you seek whilst crossing Scribe's Gate. Oh, thanks. Once more your companions cross the gate, one after another, and once more you follow them in turn. Celeste regards you all and then waves you through towards the summit. The 8 scribes bid the Nightwings welcome. Go forth with glory. And Tarek? Celeste? You may rejoin the others in a while. For now, I would hear those words of yours. Certainly, Celeste. Everyone, I shall see you shortly. Ooh, music. Hey guys, it's gotten real cold up here again. But it's worth it, let me tell you. Got lots of customers been stopping by. Okay, it may have been exaggerating just a little bit since, but I've been waiting here a little while, I guess. But are you buying anything? Okay, let's buy some drugs. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Oh, there's lore on the slug markets. This I've got to see. Slug markets. There are natives in this land with some capacity for thought, an oddly keen instinct for the mercantile. Suspicious creatures, but not disagreeable entirely. From time to time we make exchange with them. They lust for coins, for the imperial soul. Though why they do not say. We speculate it is a delicacy. It serves to a purpose here, whilst their slug market wares are sometimes valuable. The creatures appear drawn to places where the heavens shine the brightest. Perhaps because they know we are as well. What they want isn't exactly as unclear. We taught them of our lands, yet they remain preoccupied with simpler things. Okay. Oh, let's do this then. The time has come again to deliver one of your fellow exiles to a homecoming in the Commonwealth, lest your adversaries, the accusers, achieve the same instead. The lone minstrel has returned and approaches you as you await the signal from the stars. There is something I wish to ask you, reader, something which ordinarily would not be my place to discuss in any detail. You have observed the stars. If you would not mind my asking you in such a direct manner, how many liberation rites are you supposing yet remain? Have you deduced how many liberation rites are still to come? 2. You tell him the only logical deduction which you have been able to make based on all your readings of the stars of late, that there shall be one final liberation rite after tonight. I concur with your evaluation, reader madam. Who do I have left? I have Demon Lady, Tizo, Tree Guy, and Swamp Hag. I wish to make certain you are aware, so that you and the Nightwings may yet make the most of your remaining time together thus. As to what shall happen when the final liberation rite is ended, we shall soon find out. But lo, it seems that we're called upon once more. Look forth. Yeah, Tizo's useful.
Reader, I would ask that you think back for just a moment, if you please. When you first looked upon
Fair enough.
threats, Think back upon the words that it revealed.
Oh, hey, cool guy.
The voice that tells you more. Oblige the voice that tells you more. Would that the scribes were here among us still. I would not sing your praises to them, rest assured. I trust that you shall savor this occasion. You shan't have to oblige me for much longer.
Yeah. The pyres burn, and each of the triumvirates is present and prepared. I concur. The pyres burn, and each of the triumvirates is present and prepared. Then, anointed one of the accusers, come forth now and declare yourself, and pay any respects that you have unto your adversaries, the Nightwings. Poised as ever, Lendl steps forward and reaches for his mask. He's kind of a jerk, so I don't want to let him win.
I was branded, Lendl the liar. Once I reclaim my liberty, that name shall be forgotten, and my rightful station in the Commonwealth shall be restored. Nightwings, you may have prevailed against me when we last met here on this sacred site, but the many years since then have taught me I shall not fail again.
Yet you still hold much resentment for your adversaries, is that not so, Lendl?
Resentment is too kind a word for it. They are cheaters, one and all, unfairly favoured by the scribes, while those such as myself must struggle endlessly for such a chance. Now come, my accusers, let us banish those undeserving oaths, and prove now to the scribes they are fools to favour the likes of them.
I have no idea what that voice is meant to be. Yeah, cool guy. I think you've hit the nail on the head. He chose Saturdays with the boys rather than hanging out with her. Yeah, I worked out there was some sort of connection between them, so I've sort of given them both Welsh accents.
I am ready.
Nightwings, your choice. In whose name shall we conduct this liberation rite? I wish you the wisdom of the scribes in making your choice, reader. And I wish you to prepare a song with me, Tarek.
Whom shall you attempt to send home this time?
She's earned it.
Jodariel.
If that is your wish.
Who shall lend her support? Volfred.
We stand with you this night, Jodario. Let us prevail here and now.
Let's go, Tizo. I forgot to give them the drugs. Tizo seems very determined to support Jodariel.
With that out of the way.
Oh, I've been told it's actually better to lose the last rite if you want the best ending. Wow, that's what I was told.
Come then, Nightwings, and look upon me one last time, for by dawn I shall be free, while you wallow in the terrible defeat we have in store for you.
Commence.
Oops. Tizocopter failed. I forgot I could do that.
Seize the orb. Pyre's flames grow weak.
Okay, any luck, this might be easy.
You imp!
He singles out Tizo from across the sacred grounds.
The indignity that which you have wrought upon me upon all these years, tonight it shall be washed away, as I at last return to my post.
Okay, ALP. Good luck with work. Thanks for dropping by.
Long had I toiled in this abominable place, only for you, pathetic wretch that you are, you, of all things, to thwart me and my accusers in our moment of triumph. It was small consolation knowing the Nightwings fell apart soon after, a misfortune you doubtless wrought yourself. As for we have clawed back our way to the mountaintop, you snivelling, loathsome little beast, and this time things are not going to transpire in a very different manner. I have eaten my Weetabix. You're powerless. Just you watch. Lies. The filthy imp boy lies.
But Tizo just stares right back at him, betraying no emotion. But then he claws at his mask. Certain imp expressions resist translation. Suffice, Tizo does not hold Lendl in high esteem.
Yeah.
It seems Tizo does not hold Lendl's mother in high Sorry. Right. Then he dons his mask once more.
Why you? How dare you raise your weak little voice at me? You blasted Nightwings! Would that we could all go free, that I might have you all arrested and sentenced once again. Now get out of my way.
Denied.
Go, Teasocopter!
Tizo doused their fire.
Now, accusers, grant me your auras and your anger, that we may finally secure a rightful victory against these demons whom we face.
I mean, like, your allies are themselves demons. You realise that, don't you? Yeah, I like it because it's giving me an excuse to do lots of silly voices. He is channeling the auras of his triumvirate, and their strength combines with his. This must be the aura gain. A secret technique developed by the accusers to ensure their victory in the liberation rites. This is going awfully anime. Okay, no matter. Yeah, stroll away, you fool. Yeah, these guys are way too slow to actually pose a threat.
How comical. None left unscathed. Such zeal.
Ah, I don't know if the AI actually planned that, but
Well cast. vermin is banished.
Hey, she has a name, you know.
Now go. Oh, so close.
Oh, that was a bit of a pickle. Oops. A Tezocopter cannot be defeated.
Engulfed within the aura.
Tezocopter, Tezocopter. Ouch.
Ho, ho, ho. Be gone, Joe Dario. The imp did it. Too bad for that one. 'Tis taken. Good. Second wind. And there it is, at last.
Yes!
The
Best girl goes free.
Nightwings proved their worth. As for their adversaries,
Yeah, you're right, cool
they
guy.
did not.
I mean, I bet he's jealous of Jodariel too, but
Ends the liberation rite. And thus, the scribes have chosen the exile appointed by the Nightwings shall be free.
and you can die mad
Absolved of
about
all
it.
misdeeds. Return to glory in the Commonwealth.
Nope,
Her
kicked his ass.
adversary and all others shall remain.
I mean,
Carry out
don't get me wrong, he's a nice old man, but
sentences.
I didn't want to split him and his adopted son up.
Blast you, Nightwings! Again you cheated me! Have you no pride at this tradition?
Just realised I've basically given him the potion seller sketch voice.
You have no respect for liars. You care for nothing but your potions.
After all this time, she turns her gaze towards the rest of you. I never thought this day would have come. I have all of you to thank for this, for doing this for me. The life that I recall back in the Commonwealth was at times difficult, and I am much older now. I know not what I shall find on my return. However, I know this. If that place still is like the Commonwealth I left so long ago, then I shall strive to make it better, for as long as I retain my strength and breath. You see her smile faintly as she disappears into the shimmer pool, though you can hear her voice, though faintly now. Farewell then, reader, all of you, for now. Jodariel earns back her freedom.
Godspeed, Captain Jodariel. The cycle of the rites is nearly at an end.
Okay, let's enjoy the ending when we get to it then. Oh, Tizo the Imp's maxed out. Wait. A hidden power. A terrible unbridled fury seems to have awakened within Tizo. And he looks so sinister yet adorable. All in all, he seems very enthusiastic about it. Choose a mastery.
It is possible our plan shall not succeed, despite our fiercest efforts here and in the Commonwealth. But I know for certain that our efforts shall not be in vain. We learn and strive together. We prevail or we fail together. On this path we share. It has been, and shall continue to be, my greatest honour.
Okay, choose a mastery. I found Volfric quite useful actually. Between the fact his cast can actively block one of the opposing team's routes towards your pyre. He has fairly large radius, and the fact he can literally just deflect opposing teams. You return to the wagon after having prevailed against the accusers in the liberation rite.
Excellently done, Nightwings.
Tizo is pleased that Jodariel is finally free. You succeeded in liberating Jodariel. You return to the Commonwealth in glory.
The last light of the stars still shines for us above. At this point, what is to become of our plan needn't be the subject of our speculation. I trust that we'll learn the outcome soon enough. Our actions to this point shall pave the way, perhaps our faith as well. So let's for now focus on this. We stand upon the brink of the last turn of the cycle of the rites. Soon we'll have our final chance to get one of you home. Now, reader, up for a little stargazing. Let's see where in the downside we shall be returning for these final rites.
You turn back toward the darkness to look upon the last few stars too stubborn to relinquish their light. Yeah, you know it's the banishment radius thingamajig. He has a large aura, okay? The tree man has the large aura. Okay, who do we want to face last? Okay, I want to see what this guy thinks of Jodariel being gone. Yep, or maybe he's just old enough to have more rings. Once more you are to face the Tempers then, although I wonder... He hesitates before saying anything further. You cannot sense his thoughts. I apologise. I was lost in thought there for a moment. Let us make our way for the Ridge of Gull, when everyone is feeling more refreshed, as much as possible. Following Jodariel's liberation, the lone minstrel has returned to the wagon, and stands as though nothing has happened here this night. Yeah, that's it, Roy. He tilts his head a bit as you approach. Once more, the Nightwings have prevailed again in the liberation rite under your mindfulness, reader. A commendable achievement. Surely Ariel shall live out her days in gratitude to you and your companions. Perhaps you may now seek Hedwyn there in your Commonwealth. I should think Hedwyn would have liked to witness what took place this night. I trust that together they shall make a formidable difference to the plan which all of you endeavour to achieve. Now for the time, Celeste and I are to return to our respective stations. We all await the next turn of the cycle of the rites. May you prevail once more when next we traverse the Scribe's Gate. Until then, reader, rest well under the stars. He nods and then leaves you to recover after a long night. On Legacy. Reader, though you shall always bear a burden, it is much lighter than the burden of a lonesome exile. Go forth and become free. Then join with others such as you, and lead with mercy, continuing to demonstrate your worth, and knowing that the Empire's fall forms the foundation of our Commonwealth. I didn't know you could romance her. You shall cease to be a reader and become a voice both to the free and to your successors here. You shall take up this book when you no longer need it. The Circle of the Right shall see to it that you and others like you shall be liberated, ere the coming of another age. May the stars shine ever brightly on us all. You bring me free from solitude. What seek you in exchange? How very kind of you to visit me again, like this, O lovely reader. For I was just standing about in the blankness of this void thinking, it would be most pleasant if something were to happen for a change. There was a long period of time that this incarceration of mine failed utterly to do anything but bring me peace of mind. Not much of a punishment. I invite you to imagine an upbringing among the Sisters of the Ark. Living on the outskirts of civilization, your days all full of training which could kill you or just cripple you for life. How do you suppose I lost my sight? Oh, she's blind. Through the glorious battle with the scribes, or in a careless sparring session with my master? Ah, but I've not forgotten enough just yet. In any case, at first I welcomed the prospect of not having to struggle every moment to survive. But in less than 2 centuries, why, I started to grow terribly bored. It did not help at all that the Nightwings of the early days were the stodgiest lot you could imagine. Obsessed with that obeying the book so strictly as they could. Some of them started to remind me of myself, I think, when I was young. Such idiots, the lot of them. Ow, some are saying, lovely reader. I shall not bore you further with such matters. I would have bored myself to death back then, if only I could die. Like so many other things, I think mortality is something to be often taken for granted, until it is taken away. So given your mortality, what say that we get back to business here? Come visit me again sometime when you need further practice. Alright, let's get this going. It is daybreak. You are to set forth now for the Ridge of Gol, for what appears to be the final time. Thereafter you shall return here for one last exile's final chance at liberty. Contact? Ramming speed. Die, die, die! Die, you stupid tree man. And you. I forget who you are, but I'm going to ram you anyway.
Oi, mate, look at what ran into us again. You kicked us down before, but now we're gonna pay you back. You know, I gotta say, I like it, kind of like your style there. Come crashing right into us like you ain't even got a care. That's pretty good. Keep telling my mates we all do the same.
I think... yeah. Well, I don't really plan on... Well, I have to use Bertrude, don't I? Yeah, I don't think... I think trying to complete those talisman rites would stretch the stream out a bit too much, so I'm just going to go for the ending. Basically, for it, I think we've got this last normal rite, and then it's the final liberation rite, which is basically the end. Yonder lies the Ridge of Gaul, somewhat less imposing when viewed from this vantage point. Do you not agree, reader? The myths of the downside hold that it is no mere ridge of stone, but the remains of Lord Gandroff, once slain by Golanthian himself. Though, perhaps such shells of little import now. When you stand to confront the Tempers, they're just in a short while. Okay, we've got Hollow Root or Blooming Pool. You saw near the border of the Sandfolds, where your companions first found you in the downside long ago. There is nothing for you there, and you wish never to see it again. Fair. Okay. Let's see what Sandalwood's got planning here. Well, I'd guess the final boss is just the angry demon guy, isn't he? I mean, like he literally said he was going to challenge us, so... You make a successful landing in Downside Prairie, near the southern edge of the downside. Memories of having first met Hedwyn, Jodariel and Ruki come flooding back. You should now have some time in the vicinity before continuing onwards to the Ridge of Gaul by land. Your intentions to explore the windswept fields of Bloomington were dashed when on your arrival several of the wagon's strong-willed drive imps escaped. Fortunately, their disposition towards mischief proves predictable enough, and soon all the drive imps are once again accounted for. However, Volfred also has a nasty bite to show for it.
A few upstarts among our drive imp ranks is no cause for concern.
You dressed the minor wounds, which ought to heal soon, but the incident took much of your remaining time this day, and left you and Volfred awaiting its merciful conclusion. Volfred lost -2 quickness. Damn.
Hey guys, say, what are you guys doing all the way back here? You know, it's not so bad here, I was thinking. I got some pretty good stuff. I think you ought to check it out. That's just the way it goes sometimes, eh, Dad?
Okay. Oh. Downside Clinger. Yields fruit from time to time, though only one if one says the magic word. What does the Down Ember do? Oh, fair enough. What, these ones? There we go then. Downside Prairie. The downside is connected to our realm via a single artery, the river named for our prodigious sap colleague, Lushlorium. That river gushes into seeming nothingness. That seeming nothingness turns out, of course, to be the downside. Its existence undermines thousands of years of force about the composition of our world. The downside's southern edge we call the Sandfolds. It is a desecrated wasteland, speaking well to this land's lack of hospitality. Here, the strength of many who survive the river journey finally fails. If only they could clamber further north, where lies the verdant downside prairie. A better place to perish, to be sure. Can't argue with that. Okay, let's get this right. Righted. After making all the necessary preparations amid the lonesome lands of the Ridge of Gaul, you and your companions await the commencement of the rites. It is quieter even than usual at the onset of such events. The lone minstrel appears bearing some sort of news. I have checked, and it appears as though the Tempers have not arrived yet, reader madam. There is no sign of Ignarius of anyone. Their signal is not set either. If what he says is true and your adversary is not present, then you presume the rite cannot commence. However, the stars themselves soon indicate that you are mistaken. Uh-oh. What's all this then?
The Commonwealth, your home. Today it is aflame, much like a stack of books. Aflame because of you.
Woo,
Because of
revolution.
your outlandish plan. Not that you care. Not that you shall live to see this place again. Your attempts at revolution shan't succeed. Though by all means, keep trying. As for myself, I shall enjoy presiding over these remaining rites.
The rite is set to commence, but your adversaries, they have failed to show. Who? Tizo wonders if the Tempers decided not to show, knowing they would not have another chance at the liberation rites. Indeed, as the rite is drawing to a close, some of the triumvirats who you have met, perhaps they are beginning to decide that the stars are not worth heeding any longer. Ignarius, you wonder whether he would give up on the rites like that. He did seem rather disaffected, having failed in the liberation rite before. Perhaps he did finally decide to quit for good. In any case, we have begun the ceremony here, so I ask that we end it.
Choose now your band of traitors. Wolfred Tizo. Bertrude. Very well.
We take no pleasure in snuffing out a flame disowned.
Lo, even your adversaries have abandoned you. And it is done. The Nightwings prevail by default.
Achievement unlocked.
Not that
Untouched
their
Flame.
adversaries
Flame
even
Quencher.
care.
Wow, that was kind of sad.
My only hope is that our would-be adversaries find some peace.
Boundless are the teachings of the scribes.
They didn't even get XP.
Now take your sordid business someplace else.
I'll up yours voice. No one speaks further of the Tempers back at the Black Wagon. Everyone is instead preoccupied with the rite that is to come.
Our final chance at liberty presents itself at last. You surmise that to be the long and the short of it then.
The stars always shine with truth. The ending of the cycle of the rites is now upon us. He looks over to you. Please look forth, reader madam, and see this for yourself. You may well surmise where we are going next. The others turn to you as well. You turn towards the wagon's door. You know what you shall see out there. Now, however, the time has come to face it. The dim and fading light of the final star still pierces through the darkness, demanding your attention, guiding you towards the end point of your path. You see plain the golden star of Soliam. Look upon it for the last. %. Oh, guess everyone's given up. Soliam the Golden Star. Okay. So, yeah, my understanding is basically that losing this match gives you the best ending. You are summoned to the Fall of Soliam for your 7th and final liberation rite. Thus shall the cycle of the rites be ended for an age. You sense that if the rite ever shall commence again, it shall not be during your lifetime, or that of any of your companions, even the longest-lived ones. The stars reveal to you one more thing. The adversary whom you shall face shall be Oralek. Already he has crossed the Scribe's Gate and awaits your arrival. Yeah, well, that sounds kind of interesting, but I'm not really sure I want to play this, play the online match of this. If the 8 scribes created the Nightwings in their own likeness, perhaps it is only fitting that Nightwing should, in the end, be forced to face themselves. It is a shame that we should have to confront Oralek in the end. Our goals should never be, cross purposes. I am surprised that this is what the scribes desire. For now, it may be best that you recover until dawn. Regain your strength as best you can for the coming trial. Rest well, reader. The group disperses as exhaustion sets in. At dawn, you fly to Mount Lodiel to make a final effort to achieve your plan and get somebody home. But who? The Ridge of Goal. The serpent typing Gandalf turned to brittle stone not long after his death. Of that you may be certain. What remains is a flat, elevated basin that stands closer to the heavens. Upon the fall of Gondroth's hide, the stars themselves alight, and you shall know you stand on sacred grounds. We set the metal sigils, lit the candle flames, and we emblazoned them on the rock like forms of the sigil of our passage to and from this land, and then the stars themselves, they didn't reply to us. They sang, shining bright, their voices loud and clear. We understood their cadence, and we knew how often to return. Okay, let's finish this.
Foolish reader. Your so-called friends. You are accomplice to their hateful plot. They are exploiting you. You shall never have your freedom.
Well, kind of already established that. By dawn, you're already up and about, after a troubled slumber. The black wagon is prepared for its final voyage to the fall of Soliam. No one speaks. As you lift into the skies, the lone minstrel raises his voice, cutting through the somber mood. Reader, a certain old ballad comes to mind just now. I think it may befit the circumstance. Perhaps it may help to pass the time along our flight. Would you mind it very much if I were to play this song for the Nightwings? Heck yeah. Give us that good Supergiant stuff. You urge the lone minstrel to play his ballad so that all among you might hear it. He begins without another word. Once more we sail above the fall of Soliam. The temple to the 8 scribes awaits us at the summit. None have seen the temple, save those worthy to conduct the rites there, and myself, and my counterpart Celeste. You may then wonder whence it came. Yep, Roy, that is a damn good song. The cycle of the rites has turned since the beginning of this age. Over its course, whilst waiting for the cycle's turns, some exiles thus paid tribute to the 8 scribes. I think the scribes may not have wanted such extravagance, or the carved effigies to them along the way. Yet it is for the triumvirates to decide how best to honour the rites. They chose to honour them as you see here. How you would remember this, of course, whether you even wish to do so, that is yours to decide. The scribes would not want it otherwise. Okay. Can either get Wolfrid some... Yeah, let's give Bertrude some... You touch down amid the fading glory of Mount Lodiel to make pilgrimage to the summit for one last time. There, one last liberation rite shall soon commence. There, one last exile shall regain his or her freedom. Just say there. All others shall remain to carry out their sentences here in the downside for the remainder of their lives. And in the Commonwealth, the plan of which you are a part shall either come to fruition or shall be suppressed. having landed, you join Bertrude on an exploration to the monument of Morton Milf, for what is likely to be the final time.
We beseech ye, ancient gods of the last age, and we invoke thine aid. We have travelled far to gain this summit. Many times, and stood steadfast with our compatriots who seek to leave this place. We now offer ye our services eternally, if you would grant us such a boon to ensure our triumph in the coming night. Long would we serve ye, O ancient gods, should ye accept our offer, here and now.
Soon she is finished. You return to the wagon in silence, feeling as though Morton Millith has shown you favour. At dawn you shall begin your last ascent, for now your vocations may occupy what little time you have to spare. You notice Bertrude studying the Beyonder crystal.
The mouthy Wraith rebuke of our attempts to summon her. She insists that we are too young to understand.
She must be referring to Sandra. It seems that Bertrude may be able to invoke her.
Stubborn that one, possessing an ancient understanding. Olden ways, olden times. Many centuries of history. Knowledge of the 8 scribes themselves held captive there, within that green-tinged stone. Within that wraith's own memories. Would that we could extract them in some way. Perhaps thou couldst induce the wraith's obedience, reading one, for she heedeth not. She claimeth obligations unto only thee, although...
She stops and thinks very carefully. The Beyonder crystal is not to be tampered with. Your fellow exiles know that its use is at your sole discretion. She backs away from you, still thinking to herself.
Ignorest our inquiries about this, reading one. Our reasoning has taken us elsewhere. Her refusal to cooperate is like to be an ancient warning of some sort. It is possible that others of the 7 bogs know something of her, but we shall not be tampering further with such sorceries ourselves. That Wraith refuses to cooperate suggests that her predicament is suitably preserved.
She heads off in a huff, but just as the air goes still and quiet, you sense something from the Beyonder crystal.
Marvy Wraith, she says. Can you believe it, reader?
To be so young and foolish again. Sandra the Unseeing laughs to herself. Your proximity to the Beyonder crystal must have been sufficient to invoke her in this case.
That crone of yours is far too curious, I think. But it appears that even she has learnt her lesson in this case. Thank the stars I am beholden to no more than one among you Nightwings at a time, and thank the stars that it happens to be you rather than her. And if that crone attempts to lay her fingers on my Beyonder crystal again, I shall just have to torment her dreams until she is my age. Do feel free to mention that if it comes up. Now farewell, you know where to find me, lovely reader. She vanishes. It seems Sandra proved resistant to Bertrude's tampering. If so much history is trapped within the Beyonder crystal, there it shall remain for the foreseeable future. Yeah. She is goals, to be honest.
Let us discuss these matters which you believe should be of some benefit.
You find a remote spot where you and Bertrude can discuss any of her misgivings or fears about your journey or your fellow exiles. The conversation gives perspective and relief.
Fear is a commodity to be extracted in exchange. Thine we shall keep safe with us.
Okay then. Well, let's finish this. Right, I'm just gonna take a quick bathroom break before the finale. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Oh, do you mean in the artwork, Amanda? What? Please don't tell me the game. The game's frozen. Yep, and crashed. Alright, thank you. Yep, that's us, the Muscled Lady Brigade. Now, let's just restart this game and get to the finish. So, well, since we're getting to the end, how's everyone enjoyed it anyway? Yep, this is all his doing. Come on, you can do it, loading bar. You can do it. Believe in yourself. Right, let's get going. Right. Oh yeah. It's pretty much the whole package. Right, any luck, we'll get a messenger imp saying, yep, what happened to Best Girl? Here in the old masonry of Montelodiel, you encountered a messenger imp come to deliver news and rumours from the other side. The news this time pertains to Judariel, whom you liberated at the fall of Soliam. You learn Jodariel's past transgressions have all been forgiven. She was soon to be reinstated on the blood border, on the presumption that she wanted her old status back. In fact, she was offered an especially prestigious leadership position in the First Vale. For a demon, such as she could not be seen on the streets. An elite blood border platoon, shrouded in secrecy other than the famous results of its operations. The Commonwealth's veiled leaders were always surrounded by sentinels in similar garb. But she refused the gesture, rather bluntly, the report suggests. Instead, she sought Volfred's agents, as well as several of her former fostered sons and daughters, and so the ranks of the revolution grow stronger. The last part of the messenger imp's news must have been damaged in transit, though. There appears to be in Jodariel's own words. All that you can tell is that it says, await. You thank the messenger imp for relaying this information. Your companions are excited to discuss the news. Wee-hoo-hoo! Tizo is fired up about the news of Judariel's return to the Commonwealth.
We can envision it. A demon such as she, set loose within the Commonwealth. Having someone of Jodariel's will and stature with us on the other side shall pave the way toward a brighter future.
The news of Jodariel's liberation fills you and your fellow exiles with newfound resolve. +1 hope. Right, so again we apparently have to lose this right to get the best ending. You stand before the Scribe's Gate with your companions. The Gate Guardian is there, as ever, but you sense something different in her. Exiles of the Nightwing, we shall not meet again after the coming rite. Tarek and I, it shall be time to take our rest, I think. Greetings, Celeste. I will tell you that the Nightwings are prepared, though this time I am uncertain anyone amongst us feels thus. We have a duty to uphold, Tarek. And then but Celeste. And then nothing. Not for the rights, not or us. Not till the dawn of a new age. Now, Nightwings, step forward. Please state your names and what it is that you seek while crossing Scribe's Gate. One by one, your fellow exiles approach her, now with sureness in their step.
If I may, my name is Borfred Sandalwood. I long as yet see an age where freedom is one's birthright, and no longer are good people such as these forced to contend for it. We are called Big Bertrude. We seek to fulfill the plan of Sandalwood, but we are fond of him and his beliefs, and then to go about our business.
Tizo believes that his ancestors are watching over the Nightwings and seeks to live up to their legacy. Finally, you step up once more. You, a common wanderer who simply wants to see her quest to its completion, and you manage to come this far with this group. Well, I think there's multiple endings, but I think apparently the best ending is you get by losing. The Gate Guardian observes you for a moment, then motions past the archway towards the summit. The 8 scribes bid the Nightwings welcome. Go forth with glory. Except for you, Tarek. You stay right there. I thought you said that the rites have not yet ended, Tarek. He looks to her and then to the rest of you. Pardon me, everyone. I shall be there when the stars align. The Gate Guardian and the Lone Minstrel remain together as the rest of you depart. You have gained the summit of Mount Lodiel for the 7th time, the final time which any one of you shall have a chance to leave the downside. Okay, everyone ready? Let's talk to Ron one last time.
Hey guys. I guess you probably heard the big news, huh? Yeah, I'm going out of business here, I guess. Just hasn't been the same, you know, what with the stars fading out and all and stuff. Anyways, I just wanted to say you guys are great. I'm sure I'm gonna miss having you guys as customers and all of that. But I got some good news though too. All my stuff's it's on sale now, and I'll throw a little extra in there just for you, okay? So enjoy, and maybe I'll be seeing you guys around, okay?
Henceforth, all of Falcon Ron's goods are 5% off. Hey Alfred, you don't need to lose in order to get the good ending. That said, so much of the game is about the consequences of your choices, and I recommend doing what feels right. What will give you the best ending. Ask who you think deserves to win the last ride and play accordingly, IMO. I mean, to be fair, I suppose the demon guy was kind of screwed out of his chance, so... yeah, I'll throw it. That's how you get a repeat customer there, Dad. You give them a deal. You have gained the summit of Mount Elodiel for the 7th time. Very few stars remain above to light your way as you await the commencement of the final liberation rites. The Lone Minstrel finds you clutching the Book of Rites, seeking there, perhaps, some bit of wisdom that has eluded you so far. Reader, we may not have a chance to speak again after this. I may have to go. I wish to say that I am grateful for having made your acquaintance, and I shall remember you with fondness. I wish you well this night and always. Go forth with glory. Then he looks up and extends his hand in friendship. You clasp it. You see Tizo has joined you. All of your companions are there with him, in fact. Tizo wants you to know he has the utmost faith in you. It is strange for me to say, given the circumstances of our meeting, reader, but it has truly been a pleasure. Onward now. Let us achieve our plan.
Reading one. Thou art both wider and less irritating than most others of thy kind. We have learned something from thee, and we are grateful.
You look upon your fellow exiles, your companions, with whom you have withstood the downside, and with whom you shall now conduct this final rite. Begging your pardon, but my time has come. We shall see each other soon. He departs. After this night, the outcome of Wolfrid's plan, the plan of which you have been a part, shall be decided, one way or another. For now, all you can do is strive to prevail against your final adversaries, so that one last companion may go free. You rise to join your fellow exiles as the last remaining stars ignite. The final liberation rite of this age shall now commence. We shall reunite someday. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna throw it.
Time Singer Harm. Archbeast Sungrease. Lord Gandroth. Jack's Six Shoulders. Islak Astralborn. The Tattered Mantle. Sylvius Horse-Headed.
Oh, we're just about to start.
Timlis Erizek.
I think I'm gonna throw it just because, you know, the demon guy probably deserves
Endrigar the Widow.
to win.
All of the Titan stars. Sheer madness.
Has Twitch glitched out or something?
Look, for one last time, upon the fall of Solium, dear reader. Hear me, for one last time. For soon, the few remaining stars shall fade away, leaving you stranded there for your remaining days, in that forsaken land where you deserve to be. The rabble that you roused here in the Commonwealth shall be put down. The exiles whom you liberated all shall fall in line. But first, let us get on with this last liberation rite. You face none other than yourselves.
Spooky.
Each so unlike the glorious Nightwings of yore. 'Tis a shame that one of you shall soon be free, for you deserve each other.
The pyres burn, and each of the triumvirates is present and prepared. But before the lone minstrel can concur as part per the custom,
Not another word.
the demon Orelek slowly raises his clawed fingers to his mask.
The false Nightwings have arrived at last. Long have I awaited this. My freedom once was stolen from me, then I was cheated of it, here upon this mountain top. You may now attempt to take it from me once more.
He stands there for a moment silent, then Orelek dons his mask and stands prepared.
May these damn rites cease forever, forever, for the misery which they caused.
Nightwings, we shall not meet again after tonight, for the cycle of the rites is all but ended. Thus I would have your decision. On whose behalf shall you conduct this final liberation rite? The one who you anoint, or else the exile Orelek shall be returned. Godspeed, reader. Godspeed, reader. You know what is at stake better than I. I have utmost faith in you to make the best decision and conduct this rite with glory. Nightwings, the star's remaining light grows dim. Your decision, please. It is time now to choose who, if anyone, among you shall go free this one last time. The rest of you shall remain in the downside to the end of your days. One by one you meet the gazes of each of your fellow exiles. Tizo, Bertrude, Wolfred, Your fellow exiles, your companions, your friends. Together you have come this far, but now the downside and the rights conspire to tear your group apart and disrupt your plan. Yeah, let's go with Tizo. With but a glance, you reassure your fellow exiles that you do know what to do.
One final opportunity for salvation. Too bad for the rest of you. Tizo.
Tizo is deeply moved by your decision, but regrets that you are forced to choose just one. Your choice is cast. As for your other companions, you sense a clarity of force and purpose in each of them. They stand ready to support Tizo as well as you.
Who shall stand with him?
Assuredly, my girl. Besides, we stand against Aurelek. It is fitting that I should have to confront him myself.
Bertrude.
Thy will is ours, Reading One. Let the remaining stars shed their last light upon our ceremony here.
The choice is cast.
These are to be my adversaries, then. And who it is, I wonder, who asserts her will over that group.
You sense Aurelek searching for you, almost reaching out to you.
You the shadow of the false Nightwings. They are nothing to me, but you who relinquish your own liberty for the sake of them. Strange. It is fitting, then, that I should have to face one such as you.
Then Aurelek stands at the ready, signalling for his two allies to do the same.
By the light of dawn, the cycle of the right shall cease. Let us see if we can finish this ordeal before that time.
The sky above begins to shudder. The final liberation rite is about to commence. Tarek! Aye, I am prepared, Celeste. Then let our song this evening shake the stars themselves. Aye, Celeste, let us make sure of it.
Tizo.
Tizo fumbles with his mask. Tizo recognizes Aurelek and greets him tentatively.
It is good to see you.
Aurelek reaches for his mask in turn.
How is the horn mended?
Tizo indicates his horn has not bothered him for a long time now, and thanks Aurelek for it.
Good. A full recovery, then. But it is unfortunate to see you standing there with them, Tizo. Come with us. No questions asked.
Wait, I think I've seen this.
Huh?
Stand down.
Begin. The
Whoa.
final chance at liberation of the age.
I have no idea what just happened.
You wear the raiments once again. I could not simply stand by and do nothing, Aurelek. Yet that is what you did. When last we stood together on this blasted mountain, I fell. Aurelek, what shall it take for you to be convinced I took no part in your betrayal?
Orlek seems to consider the question, but only for a moment.
Give me my damn freedom. Let me prevail here and now. Would you promise to uphold our plan to bring about a better commonwealth? No, I make no promises. I owe you nothing. Then I am sorry, Orlek. My love for my country becomes before all else. More than your freedom and our friendship is at stake. Your love be damned, Wilfred. Let us stand as adversaries then.
Oh, I think I'm...
Spectacular!
Jeez.
Your flames grow weak.
Okay, that's actually quite funny.
The sky rains ash. Soon shall your pyres own mingle with them.
Just then, the skies above starts to rain down fire. The final phrase of the cycle of the rites and the ending of the age.
Quite foul for the Night Wings.
Rude.
Has changed that Orlek. Grown old and bitter lo these many years. Woe is you. Divine intervention.
All of you. You shall rot here. You shall rot as I have. As all these many years, you false Nightwings who deny me once again my rightful liberty. You who deny that liberty to all the triumphants you erased and vanquished under the guise of the traditions of those blasted scribes. Come, let us continue this glorious affair.
Well, I'm trying to throw it, but might as well try.
Twas dangerously close.
Oops.
You haven't.
Ah.
And there it is, at last.
Okay, conceded.
The true Nightwings proved their worth. As for the Nightwings, they most certainly did not.
Rude.
Thus ends the liberation rite. And thus, the scribes have chosen
Right. Teaser is filled with conflicting emotions at the outcome of this final liberation rite. Orlek appears. His head bows. For someone who has triumphed, he sensed no pride in him.
You posed a reasonable threat. Now farewell.
You look upon Orlek for what ye shall expect to be the last time. Any moment now, the Shimmer Pool shall engulf him. Any moment now he shall regain his freedom, and return unto a commonwealth he has not seen in half a lifetime. Any moment now the cycle of the right shall end, at least until the dawn of a new age. Any moment now.
And thus the scribes have chosen. And thus the scribes have chosen. And thus the scribes have chosen.
Jeez, calm down.
No. Nightwings. Reader. What have you done?
We broke his microphone. Nothing happens. Soon, Aurelek tenses up. Each prior time upon the fall of Solomon, the Shimmer Pool is opened, following the liberation rite and taken in whichever exile prevailed. But now all is still, and the light of the stars above has all but died. Sense a growing fear that it is already too late, that the Shimmer Pool shall not reveal itself again. Aurelek laughs to himself.
The 8 scribes save their gracious treachery for last.
Then something else catches his notice.
Wait.
A sudden rush of starlight cascades through the stillness of the summit. The Shimmer Pool has appeared again, different somehow, but open. Aurelek looks upon it, but it does not engulf him, or at least not yet.
It seems I was mistaken then. The 8 scribes. This is not their greatest treachery, it is their greatest jest. The Shimmer Pool is flung wide open. It seems that all are worthy now of freedom.
Just then, Tizo approaches.
Gray?
Tizo can hardly believe what Aurelek is saying. Everyone can return then? Tizo moves closer to the Shimmer Pool, but... Halt, Tizo. It is a warning. Tizo recognizes it as such and heeds it. The Shimmer Pool has lost most of its strength. You step inside and you shall surely perish in the current. That I can assure you. Aurelek shakes his head.
Then I am cheated once again.
No. No. The Shimmer Pool is revealed, and one of you may yet still return, as planned. But Aurelek, as the victor of this liberation rite that ends an age, the choice of who is to return is no longer decided, but is yours. Having to choose from those anointed, the last light of the stars is extinguished, and the rite's sure to an end. This is the final trial of the scribes.
The final trial of the scribes. All that remains then is for me to choose myself. Is that what you are saying?
If that is to be your choice, yes.
Why would? How is this even a choice? What reason would I have to?
Aurelek, make your decision quickly, lest it shall be a forfeit. I do not know for how much longer the lights of the stars shall offer you this gift.
Why do I hesitate to have come this far? To have regained what I ought to have already been mine all those years ago? Why now would I hesitate to claim my rights? The final trial of the scribes.
Aurelek is lost in thought. Let him work him out. You're loath to tamper with the thoughts of one in the midst of a crucial decision. Reach out to him. Perhaps you can help Aurelek work through the troubles weighing down on him. Manipulate him. A mind preoccupied becomes highly susceptible to unconscious influence. Now that would be nice. As Aurelek struggles with the implications of the choice he has to make, you reach out to him, maintaining calm. Soon he becomes aware.
You... Shadow of the false Nightwings, I sense you lurking at the edges of my thoughts. Begone, you venture to a place more desolate than the one in which you have been exiled.
But you remain with him. Soon your thoughts are known to him as well.
All this time, you stood by them, clinging all the while to your faith that you yourself could be free someday. How foolish. And forward the remorse which he expressed to me then, it was genuine. This plan of yours, back when we stood together in the rights, it was our plan.
Then Aurelic seems to pull back from you and returns to his senses.
My choice is made.
Then please, declare it. He turns to you.
You there, shadow of the false nine wings. I would have you be gone from here, back to the Commonwealth. Go, return, and realize that plan.
The Gate Guardian studies him, betraying no emotion.
The freedom I have sought, my desire for it is unlikely to be sated in the Commonwealth, which cast all of us here.
The Gate Guardian turns to you as well. Reader of the Nightwings, quickly please, do you accept the burden and the outcome of this choice? You look towards Tizo, who regards you with such warmth that no further exchange is needed. Your choice, reader. Insist that Aurelic go free instead. He earned this rightfully and not just once. You cannot take something like this from him. Ask for Tizo to be free. You intended to prevail on his behalf. Perhaps there is still a chance. Humbly accept. This is your chance to finally be free, after all you've been through. Ah. Decisions. You cannot accept something like this, or rather cannot face the thought of taking someone's freedom for yourself. The truly free would never abide such an exchange. The freedom gained here belongs to Aurelic. He prevailed in the final liberation rite. Aurelic says nothing for a time, then...
I see then. Very well, I understand your point of view. Thus, I choose my freedom.
You sense his mind is set. In this same instant, it feels to you as though he is set free. Then it is done. Aurelic stands very still, although his features seem to soften just a little, and then... he is gone. Maybe I should have taken the freedom myself and made sure the plan went through, but I reckon the demon guy forgiving the tree guy and means he's gonna help with the plan anyway, and yeah, Commonwealth doesn't sound that nice, does it? Aurelic regained his freedom. Accept this, for it is done.
Godspeed, Aurelic. By the scribes, no stars remain aloft. The cycle of the rites. It is finished. The Commonwealth. What shall become of it? What shall become of us? Nightwings. The opportunity to gain your freedom from the downside. Was it not enough?
Clearly not. That night, the exile Aurelic returned to the Commonwealth. He was to be the last. The stars had faded and the cycle of the rites had run its course. He found the Commonwealth in great upheaval. Spurred by the efforts of the 6 liberated exiles, Wolfrid Sandalwood's revolutionary plan had incited the masses. These exiles and the starless sky pretended the return of the scribes. The people surged into the streets, shoulder to shoulder. Led by the 6 exiles, their voices shook the heavens. Hey Dava, how's it going? The leadership of the Commonwealth panicked. No blood was shed that night, and by dawn it was over. The leaders of the Commonwealth had cast themselves back into exile, or joined in this new cause. Thus, in its 838th year, the Commonwealth had fallen. Sweet, I managed a bloodless revolution. The new Saharian Union declared its sovereignty in the next year. Among the changes, its elected leaders as Shin, they vowed never to cast people into their exile, and they abolished the old Commonwealth decree forbidding literacy. Today we still remember all of this, and we remember the exiles of the downside whose deeds led to the dawning of our age. Oh good, yeah, these are interesting times, aren't they? Glad you can make it, even if we're literally just at the end. Whether they returned or not. Achievement unlocked. True freedom. The Commonwealth had never provided a sense of home for the one they had called Che the Changeling, so she was surprised on her return that she was so well treated. She felt uneasy about it, and besides, she knew that she would do her best to fulfill the pledge she had made to her friends. Even she could have not expected the impact she would have on the events that followed, which gave rise to the Saharan Union. Our nation formed in 839 AS, after the fall of the Commonwealth.
One day we may stand shoulder to shoulder with a common cause.
Alfred Standalwood. Despite not fitting the image of any of the 8 scribes, Che nevertheless stood out alongside the others, amid the teeming masses on the night of the scribes' return. She spoke of the scribes with such conviction and sincerity that the crowd was very moved. After the fall of the Commonwealth, there was renewed interest in the legend of the 8 scribes, and many new interpretations of their histories and teachings. Che found herself at the centre of all this. Her way of speaking continued to compel a growing audience. She swayed many people from their astralist beliefs. Soon the 8th word, which had lost favour with the people during the reign of the Commonwealth, sought her out and asked her to formally join, and she did right away. For all of it, she would wonder how her little friend Tizo had fared. While they were divided now by great distance, he always remained in her heart. Ah. She cited her relationship with Jordario as the single most important in her life. Jordario would always provide for her a circumspect perspective of the wisdom of experience. Che was always devoted to her faith, but more so to her friends. Many people in the Saharian Union saw it that her gentle manner and unwavering conviction helped them brave the changing times with courage and grace. This is great. We basically get biographies for everyone. After his liberation, Hedwyn was instrumental in the events leading to the fall of the Commonwealth and was vital for the outcome of the plan. The peaceful outcome of the scribe's return was attributed to several key factors. One of them was the underlying ambition of the plan itself. Another was Hedwyn's visibility among the people in the streets. Identified to be a liberated exile, he was believed to be Gol Galanthian, reborn. More importantly, however, was that one of the winged harps of the high-winged remnants accompanied him. She was later identified as Vikeni Shang. Ah, he found his crush. A harp whom Hedwyn cared deeply. They are separated when Hedwyn was exiled. Their bond was symbolic of what was at stake that night, and proved vital to that peace, the peace that followed. In all his days as a leader in the Saharian Union, Hedwyn often confided in his friend Dogerio. Despite her intense manner, there was no one whom he trusted more in times when circumspection was required. Hedwyn would often think back about the vow he made at the beginning of his quest for freedom. Although he cherished all the friendships he made, he had pledged to Dogerio, Greentail, and the Reader of the Nightwings that they might be all free again together. He had broken that vow, for in the end not all of them were able to return. A terrible guilt over this darkened his mood for a time. However, the others, whom he still knew lifted his spirits, much like he had often lifted theirs. All of the Nightwings knew the stakes. While the others who stood with the Nightwings were not all able to remain in contact thus, Hedwyn thought of each of them often, and so in turn did they often think of him. Once the riots had ended, the Imp Tiso had a job to do, quite unlike most of the exiles trapped forever in the downside. The Lone Minstrel asked that he watch over the Black Wagon, which the Nightwings had used extensively for travel and for shelter all throughout their quest. Tiso obliged, for he knew the wagon, as well as its imp-driving inhabitants, better than anyone. What became of the wagon exactly was never verified, as evidence of Tiso's thorough work. So, how did everyone enjoy this game anyway? After that, he liked to while away his days with any of his friends, or else with fellow imps. Basically, Freud, the revolution succeeded, so now we're just reading all the biographies of everyone after what happened. Sander would sometimes call for his assistance, and Tiso was always happy to oblige. The two would often reminisce about their times with the Lone Minstrel. He often chirped about the Reader of the Nightwings, with whom he built quite a rapport. The Reader understood him perhaps better than anyone. Indeed, Tiso would often express wishful gratitude for his time with the Nightwings, and their many adventures throughout the land that was always his home. Other than that, Tiso would sometimes help interpret for messenger imps, relaying news to and from the Saharian Union. Despite having gained significant celebrity abroad, he never let it go to his head, and he would go fishing in the Sea of Solace at every single chance he got. Okay, what's Sandra up to? After the cycle of the riots ceased turning, records of what happened to the Black Wagon of the Nightwings became inconclusive and contradictory. Some accounts suggested that the exiles of the Nightwings, who remained in the downside, continued to make use of the Black Wagon as their place of shelter and their means of travel. However, there is no record of what happened to the Black Wagon's contents, such as the Book of Rites or the Beyond the Crystal, said to be haunted by the apparition Sandra the Unseeing. One possibility is that, when the Lone Minstrel took his leave, he took Beyond the Crystal with him, for he was thus obliged. By this line of reasoning, however, the Black Wagon itself should have been taken also. Others remained sceptical that the Beyond the Crystal ever existed, or rather that their visions that it granted were anything other than the result of an active imagination or fever dream. The bog dwellers of southern bogs still offer another explanation, for they are familiar with binding enchantments. If there existed such an object in which the Sisters of the Arch have been expelled for more than 800 years, then the enchantment could have expired along with the light of the stars. What this would have meant for Sandra and the Beyonders is difficult to say for certain, other than it may have meant that they were finally released. Nevertheless, the fates of Sandra and the Beyond of Crystal remain unknown. Yet those exiles of the Nightwings who claimed to have seen this apparition all spoke of her with degrees of reverence, or perhaps a little fear. Best waifu. Yep, here's our boy.
When the worm Sir Gilman returned to the Commonwealth, he believed that he had regained something even more important than his freedom, his honour. So Gilman relinquished his knighthood and declined an opportunity to serve on the captain of the Blood Border. He was not interested in fighting any longer. Yet, as is sometimes the case with those such as he, a circumstance soon came about in which there came a need for him once again to make use of his military training. Thankfully, however, the scribe's return ended peacefully. Sir Gilman was on edge throughout the night, expecting violence to erupt at any moment, but the moment never came. When the matter was at least last put to rest, then Gilman truly knew his time as a knight had ended. He declared to all those in earshot that he would never fight again. Unless, of course, there arose some other extraordinary set of circumstances again requiring him to fight, but he certainly hoped not. He still trained regularly, just in case, especially with his fleet-footed friend, Ricky Greentail. He was always grateful for having studied under the reader of the Nightwings, without whom he would never have completed his penance. Because of this, and perhaps because they were on opposite sides of the world now, Gilman dedicated his life to her. By that point he had long forgotten about his days under the leadership of Sir Deluge, his former commander. Breaking free of his abusive leadership was his first step towards gaining a bit of self-respect. Gilman never did return to his homeland of the Sea Dominion, and was content to lead a monastic life on a small residence in the hills. But I hope that your social life doesn't get you killed. It was just high enough to make him keep striving to conquer his fear of heights. Other than that, an intense daily training regime and an occasional visit from an old companion was more than enough to keep him optimistic and engaged. He knew by then that honour was not something to be won, but a contract with oneself to be renewed each day. Sorry, I just had to do the voice there. After Ricky Greentail earned back his freedom, he returned to a lavish welcome ceremony in the Commonwealth, as was the tendency for liberated exiles. It was everything he could have hoped for, and soon he was well off, surrounded by luxury, and choosing between various exciting opportunities. However, he must have given in to his better judgment, as he did end up siding with Walfrid Sandalwood's revolutionary forces, as he promised. On the night of the scribe's return, Greentail was there with the others, inspiring the masses. He never looked prouder, the very image of Jumira Merrymane himself. When dawn finally came and it became clear that the Commonwealth that everyone knew would be no more, he realised many new opportunities awaited. He began quite a lucrative career for himself, manufacturing and selling replica merchandise inspired by the downside. His main struggle was to meet demands. An aspect of his conscience cautioned him against making light of such a thing, but the money was too good, and soon his family was as well off as he always said. One of his orders was business was to seek out one of his old companions, Mifa Fine, to whom he took a liking during their quest for freedom. They bonded further over love of drink and supported one another through uncertain times that lay in store. He also kept close in touch with Gilman, ever the perfect practice partner. They were trained together often, taking care to stay in tip-top shape as much as possible throughout the years. Greentail always did his best to keep in touch with all his many friends, and knew that he owed his fortunes to them. He made a special point of staying close with the group of friends he came to know so well during his time with the Nightwings, wherever they were. They shared a special understanding that even puts Greentail at loss for words sometimes. Ah. Okay. And best girl? After her liberation, Yodario soon became an icon of the movement that led to the collapse of the Commonwealth and the rise of the Saharan Union. Her horns and stern countenance inspired people to believe that she was Solian Mer, reborn. She became a great, if reluctant, reader. In the uncertain times that followed, Yodario ceased his expertise. Oh, what was this? Oh, thanks for the follow, Dava. Dario's seasoned expertise often came into play in both matters of security and state. For instance, she conscripted and trained a team of volunteers in public safety. Girl became a cop. The community did not know what to make of such a cordial bunch at first, but soon came to value their service. They have stood for the people ever since, and we celebrate their founding day each year. She remained close with Hedwyn all through this experience, and they supported each other through their struggles many, many times. Damn right, Dava. Damn right.
She kept an eye on Che, who nevertheless demonstrated a surprising knack to get by on her own, though Judaria was always willing to provide assistance just in case. She never settled down with anyone, although from time to time she thought about Ignarius despite herself. She continued training on her own, a regime that grew stricter with each passing year. There were those who sought to train with her, and sometimes she obliged. There remained one other constant in her life. She would always remember her days among the Nightwings with fondness for the most part. Okay, Burb Lady. After regaining her freedom, Pyre Fine found herself in a difficult position. Having once betrayed her people of the High Wing remnants, she knew that she would not be welcome in her native home. Ah, she lost her hat. She did not trust the Commonwealth either. Instead, she found her place among Volfred Sandalwood's agents, who were busy doing their part to fulfill the plan. As it turned out, the plan was a success. Pyre Fern stood shoulder to shoulder with her other fellow former exiles, and truly they were a sight to behold. A disturbing rumour later spread that night the High Wing remnants were slated to mount an assault, which for some reason never came to pass. Pyre denied any knowledge or involvement. Afterward, Pyre... Yep, the cutest burb. Yeah, I guess she was more of a... yeah, I guess... well, they probably were decent cops anyway, because this is fiction lands and it's the optimistic ending, so yeah. Afterwards, Pyre played an active part in negotiating terms between the High Wing remnants and the new nation that would become the Saharan Union. Her previous attempt at something of that sort led to her exile. She must have felt some satisfaction to succeed this time around. Sometime later, Pyre had an unexpected run-in with Rookie Greentail, with whom she had spent a fair amount of time travelling with an... oh my god, did she give him the hat after all? Under these new set of circumstances, it turned out the two had more to talk about, and rather more in common. They had often put to the test which was able to outdrink the other. It is unclear as to which one of them prevailed in that contest in the end. One day, Pyre received an invitation to return to the High Wing remnants, where she was to be fully pardoned. She held out a hope that she might see her blood sister Tamifa there, knowing full well that Tamifa did not regain her freedom. Yep, you got a dream. Tamifa did later learn that Pyre was welcomed back by their people. However, she never responded to her blood sister's attempts to contact her. Pyre did in turn not expect any forgiveness from her at any point. Nonetheless, she kept on trying to reach out. She said to ruffle up her feathers just a bit. Later when asked, Pyre Fern admitted she felt as though she had no home to call her own. This was during an interview conducted amid an extensive trip abroad, for she had travelled thousands of leagues beyond the bounds of the Saharan Union. Pyre continued to journey thus, citing that it reminded her of when she was younger and could fly unfettered. Okay, Snake Lady. Several exiles of the Nightwings cared more for the plan of Sandalwood than to return home from the downside. The crone called Big Bertrude was a prime example. She had found a suitable environment to live within the dismal region known as the Flagging Hands. There she had built up a thriving place of business known to many exiles in the land. Oh yep, that's true. If there's any decent role model, it's the Big Demon Lady. With the rites having ended, she returned to her preoccupations, working away almost as though nothing had happened. When one gets to be more than 400 years of age, perhaps even monumental events such as the culmination of the rites or the collapse of the Commonwealth are seen as trifling matters. Much of her effort was doubtless due to the influence of Sapwood, someone whom she had admired now for decades. He had made clear that he could not requite her feelings for him, but what could have been a hurtful dismissal led only to a deeper understanding between them. By and large, Bertrude kept focusing on her work, whether casting small enchantments or imbuing talismans. The work brought her a sense of purpose, she would say. In the Commonwealth, such services were strictly forbidden. But in the downside, there was a real need for simple luxuries, which the competing slug market could not always provide. Thus did Big Bertrude continue to live up to her name, and the tales of her days with the Nightwings made her that much more of the living legend. Oh, Froy's favourites. With the rights drawn to a close, the slug market's revenues fell precipitously, and Falcon Ron was forced to liquidate his assets and close up shop. Yet, as is sometimes the case of those of an entrepreneurial leaning, this time of hardship led to an epiphany, or at least a sudden change of fortune. One day, Falcon Ron had a run-in with a messenger imp bearing news from the other side. Ron gave to it one of his remaining trinkets which could not be sold. The following week, the messenger imp was returned to him bearing a tidy sum of wealth in newly minted coinage from the Saharian Union. Falcon Ron cut a long-term deal with the messenger imp then and there. Yep, that's right, Froy. Yeah, boy. Froy's boy. And his giant snail dad. Through this his trade remained a grey area from a legal standpoint in the Saharan Union. The newfound fame of the downside caused Falcon Ron's goods to explode in popularity. He later signed an elaborate agreement with Big Bertrude's and found a distribution partner on the other side through Rookie Greentail. His own business had expanded. Especially in the Saharan Union, Falcon Ron's goods are still known for their superior quality, though he assumes no liability for any side effects. When the cycle of the right ceased turning, Wolfred Sandalwood turned towards the starless sky and closed his eyes and prayed. It was all that he could do at that stage of his plan. He aspired to assemble with the liberated exiles representing each of the largest ethnic groups composing the Commonwealth. They would stand together as a vision of the 8 scribes returned, inspiring the masses to embrace an order set of values from before the Commonwealth had tightened its grip. With the riots ending sooner than expected, this ideal scenario became impossible. Sandalwood's own freedom, for instance, was now forfeit, yet the plan did have contingencies. Fortunately, most of those contingencies did not prove necessary. Word reached him that on the night of the scribe's return, his fellow liberated Nightwings stood together and their voices echoed throughout the streets. These former exiles, who ought to have disappeared into the ranks of the Commonwealth's own leadership, now stood united with its people, who poured from their homes in solidarity. It was imperative to Sandalwood that this stand against the Commonwealth be peaceful in its nature. An overwhelming share of popular support was more than enough. Yeah, it's getting chilly. Ensuring that this was his priority, and in the end the result was self-evident. The plan's goal had been achieved. Sandalwood kept busy after that as much as possible, providing counsel from afar to those who would be at the forefront of the birth of the Saharan Union. Of course, being stranded in the downside meant there was only so much he could do. Resting assured that the future of the nation was in capable hands, he turned his attention to the remaining exiles of the downside. They might never return to that new nation, but at least they could experience its triumphs and struggles in some precarious way. So he took to his old work, writing and printing. As literacy began to spread again throughout the Saharan Union, so too did the exiles of the downside take to it. For his part, Sandalwood helped teach as many as he could. More than that, he provided the material to read, a semi-annual report about the latest events both in the Saharan Union and the downside. This periodical gave many exiles something to look forward to. One of his allies in all this was the imp Tizo, with whom he travelled all across the downside. Sandalwood often cited Tizo as the wellspring of his own enthusiasm for a brighter future. Such was the creature's spirit. He welcomed the company of the reader of the Nightwings at every opportunity, and counted her a trusted friend and a keen editor. He was pleased to hear his one-time friend Orelek had once again become a productive part of his society, yet he spoke little of their time together. As Volfrid Sandalwood gains more fame throughout the land for all his sacrifices and his contributions, it is said that he remained steadfast about two things. The first was that the cause itself ought to remain in focus. The freedom that people had achieved, it was a gift to be cherished, a set of values that needed to be nurtured. The second point he made was that he himself had little to do with the outcome. He had often praised the exiles of the Nightwings who had stood with him, each in turn by name. He never forgot any of them. One day, to commemorate his birthday, the people of the Saharian Union unveiled a monument depicting him and the Nightwings as imagined in their prime. While Sandalwood did not learn of it until much later, it is said that he was moved to tears then by the gesture. Has since endured that those of us with memories more fallible than that of Sandalwood likewise remember the achievements of his fellow former exiles and our cause. What that bastard got through. After the cycle of the rites ceased turning, the lone minstrel bade the remaining Nightwings take the black wagon and seek their fortunes elsewhere in the downside. Their parting was heartfelt but brief. He remained there at the summit of Mount Lodiel with Celeste, where the two of them would chronicle the final outcome of the cycle. Neither Tarek nor Celeste were ever seen again. We know all this now through a song attributed to them. Some claim these songs originated in the taverns of the Saharian Union, and merely were imbued with the weight of folklore. However, exiles liberated from the downside corroborated each other's claims at having met this duo that presided over the liberation rites. Another folk tale suggests that these minstrels were heralds of the scribes. Having fulfilled their obligations, they departed the world we know and rejoined their patrons. One of their famous songs describes another, simpler outcome, that the two gave up their duties to the rites in favour of a life that they could share together. In any case, they are likely to remain the subject of such verses and such songs, for it was they who watched over the rites and ushered in our times. In the aftermath of the final liberation rite, Aurelek at last returned to his nation, one that he had not seen in nearly 2 decades. He scarce recognised it. After all, it was in the midst of the transformation, a social and cultural upheaval sparked by Volfrid Sandalwood's plan. When Aurelek witnessed the people of the Commonwealth standing shoulder to shoulder and chanting together on the night of the scribe's return, he looked on in silence for a time. Then he stepped towards the crowd. A murmuring hush moved through the gathered citizens at the sight of him, for they had never seen someone thus changed by the downside. But then Aurelek raised his voice with theirs, and they all stood united once again. History would know him as the Demon Doctor, a term of endearment that stuck even after his horns began to recede. He lent his skill and service throughout the birth of the Saharian Union. The one he had called the Shadow of the False Nightwings was someone whom he thought of often. He knew he owed his freedom to her. Having witnessed the aftermath of Sandalwood's plan, Aurelek understood at last what his former companion wanted. Years ago they conceived a version of this plan. Now Aurelek found he wished Sandalwood could be present to witness the reality of it. Alone with his thoughts, Aurelek would sometimes visit the memorial to the fallen leaders of the Commonwealth. Though, other than such appearances, and notwithstanding his duties as master physician of the state, Aurelek led a very private life. Few would have guessed that he was once one of the most accomplished rites conductors in the history of the Nightwings. History, of course, shall ensure we shall not forget. Once it became clear to Ignarius that the rites were drawing to a close, he knew that it was time for him and the Tempers to call it quits. But first he and the Tempers decided to celebrate, and they did for many, many nights. The revelry did eventually subside, the exiles parted amicably and went their separate ways. He roamed the downside then, searching for some meaning in his life, sometimes taking odd jobs requiring brute strength. He never remained alone for very long, and took on many lovers in his time. However, he sometimes thought about the one he had called Curlyhorns and what became of her. Though his glory days as the most powerful conductor of the rites had long since passed, he always enjoyed the fearsome reputation he had cultivated at that time.
More spectacular.
When Manly Tinderstorff realised the rites had ended and he no longer could return to the Commonwealth for this ancient means, he was outraged. He cursed the scribes, spewing forth such a slew of blasphemy as to be unbecoming of one of his high station and bearing. When at last he calmed himself, he focused all his energies on attempting to find another means of homecoming. He maintained regular contact with his wealthy family on the other side via messenger imp, and used their vast resources to explore other means of escape. He tried using an elaborate pulley system. He attempted to retrofit a flying black wagon with superior propulsion. He tried an imp raft, a hot air balloon, even sorry. Nothing worked. There was only one way to escape the downside, and now it was gone. Tinderstoff bankrupted his family in these vain attempts. At last, such was the shame that he was treated to the teeming woods of the Black Basin to cinder roots. There he yet wallows, complaining to his comrades of the chastity who still put up with him, either about his own misfortune or the latest news from the other side. Throughout her exile, Tamifa Thane was motivated by a single goal: to return to the Commonwealth and exact vengeance on her ancient enemies. When she realised the rites had ended and that she would never see her mountain home again, she nevertheless remained determined to aid her people however possible. She had gathered certain information pertaining to the intentions of the Nightwings, who had formed a pact to regroup on the other side after their liberation. Other such reports exposed certain weaknesses in the Commonwealth defences, and revealed to the High Wing remnants the opportunity for a risky, potentially impactful strike. As Tamifa could not participate in the assault, she learned what happened well after the outcome. On the night known as the Scribe's return, the Commonwealth had fallen. The High Wing remnants thus prevailed, at last, without even having to fight. Soon after the fall of the Commonwealth, Tamifa learned that her blood sister, Pamifa, was an accessory to the successful outcome. Tamifa was very sceptical of this, but as similar reports kept mounting, she soon accepted the prevailing opinion, however grudgingly. Once a messenger imp arrived bearing some sort of message seemingly from Pamifa. However, Tamifa turned it away. She would not given into an impulse to forgive. Knowing that the conflict on the other side had ended, Tamifa had retreated to the crags of the Black Basin and grew ever more distant. Those closest to her summarised that her inability to reconcile with her blood sister was at the heart of this, though for her part Tamifa never once admitted to any such weakness. Okay, 6 more to go. Punk Doggo. Barker Ashport had never much interest in returning to the Commonwealth, for he always found its bylaws to be stifling, so when the rites ended, he did not care at first. He soon grew very bored. The rite had given his life a certain sense of structure as he always needed. He missed the raw anticipation of it all. He decided to continue conducting the rites for the thrill of it. He bent some rules and replaced some of the objects, but it was close enough. His packmates, the dissidents, proved more than happy to participate, and thus they ran against each other back in the Jumeirah Valley. Gradually, other exiles familiar with the rites, as well as those who had not heard of it at all, started to take an interest. They ended up giving Wakarash some healthy competition. Yep, she was indeed very cool. Might just see if I can actually replicate her look. His old feud with Ruki Greentail ceased meaning anything to him, and he forgot all about it amid his new pursuits. Ultimately, even Barker Ashport, who had led such a directionless existence at this point, found something of a calling through the rites. Whether he took the rites less serious than any other exile of his time, or more, was oft debated by those who watched him work. Sir Deluge? All his life, Sir Deluge had fled from one danger, only to find himself facing another. He had escaped the war-torn waters of the Sea Dominion, he had escaped the blood border of the Commonwealth, and now he had escaped the rites. After the rites had ended, many exiles wrapped up in the ancient test were crestfallen, as the last chances to return to their homes vanished, along with the stars above. Such a good doggo. Hey, I don't know. A friend of mine did actually say I'd look good with blue hair. But Sir Deluge did not mind, for this outcome meant that, at last, there was no burden of responsibility weighing down on him. While most of his fellow exiles of the Pyre yet longed for the waters of the Sea Dominion, driven as ever by their impulses towards conflict, Deluge settled down. With him remained one of his companions, Lady Seagrass, who had taken a liking to him for some reason. Takes all kinds, I guess. Reportedly, they disappeared into the waters of the Worm Gulf, which may begin to explain the significant increase in worm population observed in the vicinity. Hey Pony, oh thanks for the raise! We're just reading the epilogues of everyone now. But yeah, in case you missed it, the plan succeeded. The oppressive Commonwealth was replaced with a republic, and all the returning heroes were seen as the return of the scribes, which is basically like being everyone deciding they were Jesus and helping found a new nation. And also, Tree Guy had to stay behind, but he got back. He became a librarian again, so he's happy. Oh, and apparently this guy got busy. As the cycle of the rites drew to a close, it grew evident that a chance of freedom from the downside had forever slipped from Dalbert and Orma Oldheart's grasp. Thus they and the exiles of the Fate returned to Jorma Valley. There they struggled to get by as exiles of the downside tend to do. Manic Pixie Baker Girl, Amanda. I like it. Some time after the rites had ended, the Old Hearts had at last heard the news that the Commonwealth had fallen. This was well after the fact, of course, but it brought old Dalbert great joy. Despite his forthright manner, he had no love for that nation that cast him down along with his son. Dalbert Oldheart passed peacefully in his sleep before the next new moon. In his final days he implored his son to take the pilgrimage to the scribes. Alma never shared his father's view of the scribes, but respected Dalbert's wishes, and so after a period of mourning, Alma began a new journey. Not a day went by that Alma Oldheart did not think of his father, and give thanks to him and speak it to him, at morning and night. Would that the stars yet shone, for surely Dalbert would be there among them, smiling down at his son, and watching over him and his kin. Ah. After the cycle of the rites had ceased, Witch Ilmhild returned to the Flagging Hands region, where she shielded herself within the Pit of Milf. There, even her fellow exiles of the Withdrawn allegedly grew unnerved after a time, and left her to her vile work. Some time later, the Pit of Milf erupted into flame. So intense was the conflagration that it could be seen all the way from Jorma Valley. Arson was suspected, though the cause was never verified, and many bog dwellers in the region were forced to flee. A tempest flowing forth from the north finally quenched the flames. When at last the ashes settled, and the ground had cooled, the site of the fire was scarred beyond recognition. No trace of Witch Ilmhild could be found. As for the contents of the Pit of Milford, which notably included a profane object thought to be the remains of Yulch, all of it was gone as well. Back in the Saharian Union, Ilmhild, the Saharian Union, by the way, is the new nation that got founded when the old one was overthrown. Yeah, this is a pretty good theme, actually. Ilmhild's repeated threats to return of Yulch was thoroughly investigated, and no credence was found to any of her claims. Okay, and last but not least, this asshole. After the final liberation rite, Lendl refused to believe the rites had truly ended. He would sit through the night after consecutive night, staring into the blackness of the sky, awaiting any kind of sign that he might gain another chance at freedom. No such sign ever came for him. His fellow accusers started to express concern for him. Survival had become their top priority once liberty had slipped from their grasp, but Lendl dismissed them as weak fools. He insisted rather forcefully that any evening now, the stars would shine for him again, and mark the way towards his inevitable freedom. He was of course mistaken. The others in his triumvirate were left no little choice but to abandon him. After that, the exile known as Lendl of the Lyre was never seen again. However, there have been sightings of a bedraggled demon who wanders the downside and bears Lendl's crude countenance, suggesting he yet lives. Oh. There is one more account which warrants mention. The Night Winds conducted the rites under the guidance of Rita. That's me. Little is known of her. However, some accounts of her begin to paint a picture. We know she was of common birth, always directionless and prone to misremembering at times. Oh, I wonder if this actually affects the dialogue choices I made. The journey to the downside left her close to death. It was then that the Night Wings found her. They brought her freedom from the brink. She showed them the path. She pressed onwards with the others. She did not know how far their path would lead. Thus did the cycle of the rites commence its final turns. When the final rite arrived, the reader's freedom was at stake. In the end, however, she remained in exile. From that point on, accounts of her diverge. It is said that the voice, which troubled her, she never heard again. Some say she helped improve the lives of the other downside exiles, though whether that is true, only she knows. Some day, perhaps, that reader's own star shall emerge. Then it shall pierce the dark of night in all its brilliant glory. Until such time, and ever after, all give us thanks. Here comes the final song then. So, that was Pyre, and that was, well, basically me playing through all of, everything of Supergiant's back catalogue except Hades. What does everyone think of it? Excuse me a second. Oh, so it changes. Oh, I wonder how much of a As is. So is there like just verses that adds or removes, or? Oh, thanks. Wait, were you talking about me or one of the characters? Oh, there's Che. Well, these credits are definitely longer than the Ah, fair enough. That makes sense. So is that 6 different variations depending on who was released with them or what? Ah. Oh, didn't know Logan Cunningham did the voice Lendl as well. Alright, yeah, that makes sense. Oh, didn't know you could change your pronoun after the fact. Platonic OTP. Right, so guess we're gonna, after the credits are finished, we'll be raiding someone, so has anyone got any ideas? Yeah, I did notice they were sort of speaking sort of like a Simlish sort of thing. Ooh. I might have to look that Steam thread up then. Okay. Is there anything else left? That's library. guess that's the end. Oh, I get it. So English is like a loss, well, or whatever language you're playing the game in. True Nightwing's campaign mode unlocked. Press escape to return to the main menu. Right, have a good evening, Froy. Thanks, as always, for coming to the stream. I always appreciate it when you... Well, I appreciate everyone who shows up, so... It's been a pleasure having you. Okay. So that was a Pyre then. Guess all that there is now is to find someone to raid. It's going to take Firefox a few minutes to do this, as always. So if anyone wants to suggest someone to raid, by all means. Are you just saying that was a good time, Amanda, or is that the name of someone you think we should raid? So, yep. I haven't checked the poll yet, but last I checked, The Witness and Super Mario were... Well, Paper Mario 2 were neck and neck. So I might just... Well, I might just play one and then the other in turn. To be honest, I was kind of looking forward to replaying Paper Mario 2, so I might just play that first either way, but yeah, if The Witness does go ahead, I'll obviously play that first. Alright, fair enough. Glad you can make it to come see. Right, who have we got? Alright. Kiera Strings is still streaming, so I'll raid her. Because she streams for a very long time and she really deserves more followers. Yep, so I'll be seeing all of you for a newer game on Monday. Catch you then, and we'll be raiding as soon as the timer runs out, I guess. And you can stop watching me eat apple. Nearly. Nearly. Eight, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Future you. Makes sense. So what happens to me? What do you mean? Look, Shiny, let's get out. No.
Hi, Bisected.